We didn't hear anything the first night. That's what made it worse. Because when something finally did happen, we realized the silence wasn't natural. It was intentional, like the place had been waiting for us, to be honest. It was supposed to be a break, nothing deep, just a cheap cabin we found online, 3 days, middle of nowhere, no network, me, Josh, and Zach. We weren't thrill seekers or anything, just tired. That kind of tired where you think going somewhere quiet will fix your head and get some peace in nature. The photos looked normal. Wood cabin, trees, a small lake nearby. No reviews, though. That should have been a red flag, but it wasn't expensive, so we booked it anyway for the experience. When we arrived, the road didn't feel right. Not scary, just neglected, like people used it once, long ago, and then stopped. We didn't pass a single car for almost an hour. No shops, no houses, not even electricity poles after a point. Josh noticed it first. Why does it feel like we're not supposed to be here? Zach laughed. Because you watch too many reels. But even he stopped joking after a while. The cabin showed up suddenly. No signboard, no path leading to it, just there. It wasn't creepy, that's the thing. It was empty. Not abandoned, not broken, just empty in a way that didn't feel normal at all. Like a house staged for photos. Everything inside was clean. Too clean. No personal items, no smell of cooking, no dust, just furniture placed perfectly. And one thing I noticed immediately, no mirrors anywhere. There was a handwritten note on the table left by the owner. Not printed, not formal, just written with a pen. Stay inside after dark. Keep the doors shut. If something feels wrong, don't try to understand it. Leave in the morning. Zach read it out loud and smirked. Bruh, they're trying too hard. Josh didn't laugh. Neither did I. Because it didn't sound like a warning made for guests. It sounded like something written for people who didn't listen instead. Nothing happened for hours. We cooked, talked, played music, normal stuff. But slowly, something started to feel off. Not outside, inside. The cabin felt smaller. Not physically, just the feeling of it. Like the walls were closer than before. Something felt off about this place. Then something strange happened. Josh asked a simple question. Did you move my bag? We hadn't. It was on the chair earlier. Now it was on the floor. No big deal, right? Except none of us remembered touching it. And the way it was placed, it wasn't dropped. It was set down really carefully. And after a while, night came. Darkness hit fast. Too fast. One moment it was evening. The next moment it felt like midnight. And that silence came back. But this time, it wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, like the air itself had weight. We turned off the music, not on purpose, but we felt seen and heard. It just felt wrong to keep it playing. We had the feeling of being watched. It started subtly, that feeling you get when someone is looking at you. But there was no one. Still, I kept turning around, checking corners, doorways, windows. Nothing. But the feeling didn't go away. It got stronger. And then Zach suddenly froze. "Don't look immediately," he said. That sentence alone made my chest tighten. What? There's something outside. Josh also whispered, "Stop." He didn't respond. Just slowly look. I didn't want to, but I did. And I wish I hadn't. There was someone standing near the trees, not moving, not hiding, just standing still, facing our cabin. Too far to see clearly, but close enough to know they weren't lost. They were watching us. We expected it to move or come closer, do something, but it didn't. It just stood there, for minutes, maybe longer, completely still. And that's what made it worse, because it felt like it didn't need to rush. And then, eventually, at some point we looked away, just for a second. When we looked back, it was gone. No movement, no sound, just gone. Then Josh said something quietly that sent chills down my spine. That wasn't the scary part. What do you mean? He swallowed. It was facing the wrong direction. We both looked at him. What are you talking about? It wasn't looking at the cabin. He paused. It was looking at something behind it. That's when everything changed, because the feeling of being watched suddenly felt like it wasn't coming from outside anymore. And then, footsteps. We heard it clearly, inside the cabin. Soft, slow, not walking around, just shifting, like weight being transferred from one leg to another, in the room next to us. Zach checked it first, turned on the light, opened the door. Nothing. Empty room, but the air inside felt colder. Not cold like weather, cold like something had just been there. We didn't say it out loud, but all three of us understood the same thing at the same time. The person outside wasn't trying to come in. They were watching something that already was inside the cabin with us.
We didn't sleep. We couldn't, even when we tried. We kept all the lights on, sat together, no phones, no talking after a point, just listening. Because every now and then, we'd hear it again, that soft, shifting sound from different parts of the cabin, until, around early morning, Josh quietly said, "Don't react." That sentence again, same fear. What? He didn't look at us. It's standing behind the window. We all froze. Everything in me wanted to turn around, but I didn't, because his voice wasn't panicked. It was controlled, like if I reacted, something worse would happen. I felt it, the presence, right behind us, close enough that I could feel its stare. We stayed still for what felt like hours, no movement, no sound, just waiting, until finally the feeling disappeared. Sunlight came in slowly, and everything felt normal again. Too normal, like nothing had happened. We didn't discuss it. We packed our things and left immediately, didn't even lock the door. Just got in the car and drove off. About 10 minutes into the drive, Zach said something quietly. "Look." I turned, and my stomach dropped. There was dirt on the seat, wet, dark, like someone had stepped in with muddy feet, but none of us had. And then Josh said, "I think it followed us out." We never spoke about that trip again. But sometimes, when I sit alone, I can't shake the feeling of being watched. And for another cabin getaway, never again.
There's something no explorer will ever admit on camera. Not because it sounds crazy, but because once you say it out loud, something starts listening. And if it listens long enough, it follows. We thought that was just another internet myth, another creepy rule people make up to sound mysterious. We were wrong. Because 3 days after we found that cabin, we started hearing it again. Not in the forest, not in the footage, but inside the house. Before I tell you what happened in that cabin, you need to understand one thing. We didn't go there by accident. There were 4 of us. Ethan, the planner, always calm, always logical. Jake, the camera guy, saw everything through a lens. Lily, fearless, or at least she acted like it. And me. I was the one who kept records, audio logs, notes, maps. I believed that if something went wrong, documentation would save us. Looking back, that might be the reason it followed us, because the place we found was never meant to be documented.
It started with a gap on the map, literally. A section of forest that didn't load properly. No terrain data, no satellite clarity, just a blurred green patch. Jake joked either Google messed up or something doesn't want to be seen. We laughed. We always laugh at the beginning. But Ethan didn't. He just said, "We're going." The drive took 4 hours. The road got narrower, then rougher, then gone. We parked near a broken trail marker. No sign, no warning, just a wooden post snapped in half. That should have been our first sign.
The moment we stepped inside, everything felt off. Not scary, not yet, just wrong. The air was heavier, like humidity but thicker, harder to breathe. And then we noticed something strange. There were no sounds, no birds, no insects, no leaves rustling, nothing. Just the sound of our own footsteps, and even that felt muffled. Lily whispered, "Why is it so quiet?" Ethan didn't answer. He just kept walking. Jake pulled out a compass. At first, it looked normal. Then the needle started shaking. Slow, then faster, then spinning, until it stopped, pointing straight at Ethan.
Jake laughed nervously. "Congrats, man. You're north now." No one laughed, because that's when we heard it. A sound that didn't belong there. Footsteps. Behind us. We turned instantly. Nothing. Ethan said, "Echo." Jake nodded. "Yeah, echo. But echoes don't follow your rhythm." And these did. We kept walking, faster. So did the footsteps. That's when Jake noticed the trees. Scratches. Deep ones, running vertically, like something tried to climb, but kept slipping. The bark wasn't just cut, it was torn. And inside the scratches, there was something dark. Not sap, not dirt. Something dried. Jake zoomed in and whispered, "That looks like..." He didn't finish. We checked the time. 20 minutes had passed, but it felt longer. Way longer. Then we walked another 20 minutes, and an hour had passed. Ethan said quietly, "We're not walking normally." That's when we saw it. The cabin. It stood in a clearing that shouldn't exist. No grass, no leaves, just bare ground. The cabin itself looked wrong, not broken, not decayed, just off, like it didn't belong in this world. It leaned slightly, but not from damage, more like it was trying to move. The windows were black, not dark, black, like nothing could reflect off them, and the door was already open. Lily smiled. We found it. Every step toward the cabin felt heavier, like the ground was pulling us down. And then the smell hit. Rot, but not fresh, not animal. Old, ancient. Ethan covered his nose. Something died here. We didn't knock. We didn't call out. We just walked in. The door moved on its own. Dust everywhere, but no footprints, except one, a single trail leading deeper inside. Jake whispered, "Someone's here." Then a loud thud above us.
We froze. Then came the sound of something dragging, slow, heavy, moving across the floor above. Lily whispered, "We should go." Ethan said, "We're already here," and we went upstairs. Each step creaked, but not just once. After we stepped, the stair creaked again, like something stepped after us.
The hallway was narrow, walls scratched, covered in carvings. Don't look back. It's not behind you. It's with you. Jake laughed nervously. People write anything for attention. Then he turned around and froze. His face changed instantly, all color gone. There's someone downstairs. We heard it, dragging, coming toward the stairs, slow, intentional. Lily grabbed my arm. "Hide!" The front door slammed shut. We were locked in. We ran into a room, closed the door, locked it. The handle moved. Then we heard breathing right outside, wet, heavy, wrong. Then nothing. Ethan whispered, "It's gone." "No, I'm still here," it said. The door started scratching.
Not to get in, to get out. Because the scratching moved into the walls. We saw movement inside the wall, something crawling between us. Lily started crying. Jake kept filming. I couldn't breathe. Knock from behind us. The closet door moved. It was already inside. The door burst open. We ran. Jake dropped the camera. One frame shows it. A face. Too wide. Too empty. We ran downstairs. Ethan fell. Ankle twisted. "Leave me." We didn't. As we dragged him, he whispered, "Why are you bringing it with you?" We didn't stop running. Not when we hit the bottom of the stairs. Not when the front door came into view. Not even when the dragging sound behind us suddenly stopped. That was the worst part, because it wasn't chasing us anymore. Ethan could barely walk. We dragged him, half carrying, half pulling him toward the door. Jake kept looking back. "Don't stop. Don't look. Just go." But something was wrong. The hallway was getting farther away. We were moving, running, but the hallway stretched, longer, longer, like the cabin didn't want us to leave. Ethan grabbed my arm, hard. "Stop running." We froze, completely still. No movement, no sound. And suddenly, the hallway snapped back to normal. The door was right there. We didn't question it. We ran. The moment we crossed the doorway, the air changed. Sound came back. Birds, wind, everything. We didn't stop running until we reached the car, threw Ethan in, drove, didn't look back. We told ourselves we made it out, that it was over, until that night. Jake reviewed the footage, frame by frame, shaking. In the last clip, right as we stepped out of the cabin, something stepped out with us. We didn't escape it. It just let us leave.
We thought it would fix everything. Just a quiet winter break. No phones, no noise, no people. Just us and the cabin. But the moment we stepped inside, it felt like someone had already been waiting. My name is Daniel. This happened last December, and I swear what I'm about to tell you still doesn't make sense.
It was Emily's idea. She said we needed a break. No distractions, no stress, just peace. Honestly, I agreed. Work had been killing me, and things between us weren't exactly perfect. We found the cabin online. No reviews or anything. No host profile. Just a few pictures that seems nice, I guess. And yeah, looking back now, that should have been the first red flag, but we ignored it. Then we finally arrived. The drive took 4 hours, deep into the woods. No signal, no other houses. Just snow and silence. When we finally saw the cabin, it looked exactly like the pictures. Too exactly. The door was unlocked. Emily laughed. Maybe they trust guests out here. I didn't. When we entered, it was warm. Already. We hadn't told anyone what time we'd arrived, though. The fireplace was already on. Emily smiled. See, it's cozy. But I couldn't shake this feeling, like we interrupted something. The cabin had 2 rooms, a kitchen, a small bathroom, and one thing I noticed immediately. There were no personal items, no photos, no clothes, nothing. It didn't feel like someone's cabin. It felt staged. By evening, snow started falling harder, thick, heavy. We were officially stuck there. Emily didn't mind. She was happy, relaxed, but I wasn't. It started small, a sound from upstairs, a loud thud. Emily froze. Did you hear that? I nodded. We hadn't gone upstairs yet. I grabbed a flashlight. Slowly, we walked up. The room was empty, nothing out of place, except the window. It was open, and snow had blown inside, but we hadn't opened it. That night, things got worse. We were lying in bed, trying to sleep, and then Emily sat up. Did you say something? I hadn't. Then we both heard it, a whisper from the hallway. It sounded like someone calling a name, but not ours. I slowly opened the door. The hallway was empty, but the air felt cold. That's when I noticed something. The floor. There were footprints, wet, leading toward us, but none leading away, meaning whatever made them was still inside. This is where most people would leave. We couldn't. The storm had buried the road already. We were trapped there. Morning came, and everything looked normal. No footprints, no open windows, no whispers. Emily laughed it off. Just stress. I wanted to believe that, until I checked my phone. No signal. But there was a video, recorded at 3 a.m. We were asleep then. I don't remember recording anything, but I pressed play. It was the hallway, dark, still. Then something moved. A figure, standing outside our door. Not knocking, not moving, just watching. For over an hour, standing still. Emily didn't believe me until she saw it herself. That's when she said, "We need to leave." We packed everything immediately, ran outside. The car wouldn't start. We panicked, and then we heard it again. The voice, but this time closer, right behind us. We turned, but the cabin door was open. Since the car didn't start, we went back inside. We had no choice. That's when everything changed.
The cabin wasn't the same anymore. The rooms felt wrong. And then we saw it. The mirror.
In the living room. It showed us, still asleep, upstairs. Emily started crying. I couldn't move, because behind us, in the reflection, there was someone else, standing between us, smiling. We never made it out that night. But here's the part I still don't understand. When the police found us, the cabin didn't exist. And every winter, I still get a video, recorded at 3 a.m., from inside that cabin, waiting for us to come back.